Hello, guys and gals. It is I, the Monster, and today we are going to review Marvel's brand new movie, Ant-Man, starring Paul Rudd, Eveline Lilly, I think that's how you say her name, the legendary Michael Douglas, Corey Stoll, and Michael Pena, and that's all I can remember off the top of my head. So in any case, let's talk about this. So Ant-Man was among one of the comic books that I secretly read along with Howard the Duck and other things like Spider-Man 2099 and those kinds of stories. But Ant-Man was a character that Marvel was running with, since its early days, and was one of the founding Avengers back in the 60s, and also created Ultron. So you have to imagine that Ant-Man was a character that the hardcore comic book fans of especially Marvel were waiting to see for quite a while, and pestering directors like Joss Whedon and stuff. Where is Ant-Man? Where is Hank Pym? Where is this character? Unfortunately, Ant-Man was in developmental hell for years. As a matter of fact, I think it was actually prepared prior to the first Iron Man movie. It started this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you will. And the director, Edgar Wright, who does all the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost British comedy movies, was going to write and direct the film. Unfortunately, I guess he had too much creative vision for it, and too much, I guess he was kind of jerking him around, to be honest, and they dropped him. However, they picked up this guy, Peyton Reed, who had who actually really enjoyed the character. He had some weird backstory about Ant-Man. You can look this up. But in any case, they took what he had and they built upon it. They took away things. They kept things. They still credited him. So Edgar Wright still has Edgar Wright things in the script. But how does it fare? So. And again, with a movie like Ant-Man, I can't blame people for asking this question. But Ant-Man really delivers. And I'm not just saying that because, it's Marvel and it's a comic book movie and it's a beloved character by the hardcore guys. But it does its own thing, but it does it really well. And it's a very different type of Marvel film. This is, in fact, a Marvel heist film with superheroes. So, a lot of people keep asking me, which Ant-Man is this? Because there's many iterations of the character. This is Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang. Paul Rudd was my personal pick, by the way, just because I thought he would nail this, and he did. Scott Lang is a electronics master. He is a former thief, and he did some big heist, but he's not a violent thief, and he goes to prison, and that's how the movie starts. What they did was they decided that Michael Douglas is going to play Hank Pym, and they're going to show this whole old school, Ant-Man back in the day, fighting people and stuff, but it was kind of a myth. And, basically, the whole general gist that the trailer didn't give it away was that, Hank Pym basically has been watching Scott Lang and I guess with the ants and knows that he's a decent guy, and Scott is in this scenario where he's getting out of prison. He can't get a job. He's trying not to do crime anymore. He wants to visit his daughter on her birthday, and he's divorced, obviously, so his life is literally falling apart. And Hank Pym it looks at this and goes, I understand that you're trying to save your life and improve and whatever. And in order, basically he says, okay, I'll give you this, I'll help you out if you help me out. And that brings in the whole Hank Pym technology company. I don't remember the name in particular, I'm sorry. But basically, Hank Pym's daughter, Hope, is played by Eveline. I can't say her name. It's Evangelion. Eveline Lilly from Lost, who's gorgeous, by the way, I'm sorry. And she's running the company, second in command, and this guy Corey Stoll, who plays this character Darren Cross. Darren Cross is the head of the company, and he's going to turn it into Cross, Enterprises, or whatever the hell it's called. And Cross was Hank Pym's mentor. And he's been trying to figure out for years what the whole thing was with the shrinking and the growing, the Ant-Man, the formula. He was trying to figure out if, because Hank Pym wouldn't answer him as to, directly, is the Ant-Man real? Is the ability to do this stuff real? And, Darren made it his whole life to be better than Hank, because, they're trying to play it off like Hank really wasn't that great of a father to Hope, and wasn't that great of a person, and Darren was left in the dust basically to be the mentor, and he got really obsessed with it. So that's kind of the whole villain ambition. So it's really interesting because like a lot of the Marvel films, I think they're really great. But the one thing that a lot of them get wrong is the dialogue or the story. It's a lot of action, and I love my action, but you got to tell a story. And I think this movie delivers perfectly on the dialogue. The dialogue is so well written. It's so funny. The characters are actually written like the damn characters. You give a shit, and even though there's a lot of dialogue, I actually think it really helped the movie move along, because, a lot of the action in this movie was CGI and stuff. But, yeah, so obviously it's not a spoiler here. Darren Cross figures out how to do it, finally how to shrink properties, because if I didn't mention, is Hank Pym is a physicist, and he has the Pym particles, which is like a really iconic thing in the comic books, if you don't know about the Pym particles, which allows you to shrink and grow and all that stuff. But, basically, yeah, Darren's trying to invent this suit, the yellow jacket, and sell it off to the military. And meanwhile, Hank Pym basically set up Paul Rudd's character, Scott Lang, to steal the suit. And Paul Rudd's got friends with this guy, Luis, who's played by Michael Pena, who's hilarious and tells all these stories. And they got T.I., I don't remember the name of that character, but they also have this Russian guy who's like a computer guy. So all three of them are like, basically, like, he goes back, Scott Lang goes back to a life of crime, I guess, to steal Hank Pym's stuff. But, like, when he opens the vault, he just finds the suit. So he takes the suit, and he's like, this is like a bust. And then he puts the suit on, he finds out all the powers and everything. It's really cool. I like how they kind of did that. And, like, Michael Douglas, Hank Pym, was just sitting there, like, watching it and everything. But anyways, so Darren Cross is trying to do this thing. I should also mention that Hope Van Dyne and Hank Pym collide a lot, because Hank was not the greatest father. There's this whole storyline where basically the Wasp, Janet, his wife, is not basically alive, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not spoiling anything here, but they touch on it, and how he doesn't want... Okay, basically, he doesn't want his daughter to get involved with taking what they need from the company, because the whole thing is Ant-Man is going into this company to take something, which is the Yellow Jacket suit. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm kind of tripping here. But, like, there's a lot of back and forth between them. So, like, they gotta teach Scott how to be, like, this hero and use the suit and steal the Yellow Jacket stuff. But Darren is, like, on the ball. He knows what's going down. He's gonna sell the stuff, and he find out, like, all this crap. Like, he's gonna try to sell the Hydra of all people, and it's interesting. See, the thing that I like about this villain is, like, not only is he just like an evil business guy, he's got an ambition, like a motive. He's really, really fucking, like, ahead of the game, and, like, he knows what he's doing. He's like, yeah, I'm selling a Hydra. Fuck you, we're taking over. And it's so cool. And, like, let's talk about the action here. So, like, the whole idea of obviously Ant-Man is the fact that he can grow and shrink and all that stuff. There is a ton of that in this movie. There's a lot of funny stuff, a lot of little cameos with certain items and things. And the fights are so effing cool. Like, they're just so neat. They're so different. Hank, when he shrinks... I'm sorry, not Hank. When Scott shrinks, he gets, like, the power of, like, 200 men or whatever, because of how small his hits are, and he grows, and he throws the punches. And the whole... The ants, though, just the ants steal the show. Like, the different types of ants, Hank Pym shows them, like, how to control them, and what they do, and what's stronger, and some of them fly, and... they are just so cool. And he's got this one ant that flies named Anthony, which you'll see. But the big thing with Hope's mom, I don't want to discuss because it's a huge spoiler, and I'll save it for the end of the video. But, like, the big fights, like, in this movie really delivered. There's a couple of them, and there's also even a scene where Scott Lang has to break into They think it's an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. base, but it becomes the Avengers base in Age of Ultron. So he's got to take a device that's going to help them out with the heist, and and he fights the Falcon, and it's a really funny scene. It's a cool fight. It's really neat that Anthony Mackie even did that. But yeah, the movie really delivers because you have a character here who is actually super damn relatable. Has the daughter, wants to escape this convict life, wants to do his own thing, has these dreams and whatever, and he's funny, and he's like an all-around character. And, you know, like, Hank Pym is done so well. They get his aggressiveness just right, and how he doesn't like the Starks, and, you know, he shits on him. He's like, oh, you know, you think I could trust my suit with some guy who wears a stylish suit and flies around, and the Avengers just lift cities and all this shit, and it's like, oh my god, like, but that's Hank Pym, you know, and kudos to them for touching on it. I'm surprised they didn't go the other route, but they do touch on, like, just his dark past and stuff to a degree. So it's a little swap, you know, it's a mentor story. Yellow Jacket is not a Hank Pym thing, it's the bad guy, and it's really enjoyable. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I really recommend it to people. It's a solid flick. And, you know, that's really it. I thought it was fucking awesome. I thought it was one of the best films they've made, and I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I thought personally I would enjoy it, but I really enjoyed it. I want to see it again, naturally. But anyways, guys and gals, this has been the review. I am going to put some spoilers up. We're going to talk, because there's 2 credit scenes, so here's the annotation. And I hope you all go and see it. And again, don't say I didn't warn you, because I am going to do spoilers. And I'm just going to rotate around like a big old planet. That's a Chubby Guy joke, folks. Alright. You can turn this video off whenever you want. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And I'm going to spoil that. Okay, so the whole big twist with Hope's mom, Janet, is that she shrinks so small that she goes into another realm of space and time. You see, what happens is, during a nuclear missile or something crisis, I don't know if it's the Russians, I don't recall what he says, to be honest with you folks, Hank Pym and Ant-Man and the Wasp at the time, they're trying to stop the missiles, so Janet shrinks down into space just to stop it, and basically sacrifices herself. And that's why part of why he doesn't want Hope, his daughter, to become the Ant-Man or whatever, aside from, you know, also being part of the company and, you know, getting killed and whatnot. But that happens, and then at the end of the film, there's a mid-credits and an end-credits. So the mid-credits scene is that Hank Pym's like, oh, we were inventing this suit, me and your mother, and we were doing this whole thing, and he opens up this vault, and he reveals a brand new Wasp costume for Hope, and she just goes up to it, and she's just like, it's about damn time. And I was really happy about that. So apparently Hope is going to become the new Wasp, and it's a big part of the movies, I'm hearing, too. So it's going to be interesting how they have Ant-Man and Wasp, because we all know they're going to be in Civil War. Which leads me to the other scene. It looked like Captain America shows up, Chris Evans and Anthony Mackie, Falcon, and they're in like a warehouse-looking place. And I want to say it looked like Bucky Barnes, but correct me if I'm wrong here, folks. And Bucky Barnes is in like a vice grip-looking thing. It was kind of dark. And they said, oh, you know, we can't tell Tony about this. We can't tell anybody. And then he goes, you know, I have a guy who can, Anthony Mackie's character, the Falcon, goes, I have a guy who can do this, who can solve this. And so it leads to, like, okay, like, it ends, and it says Ant-Man will be back at Civil War. So we already know Ant-Man's showing up. I guess he's going to free him from this thing. I don't know what the hell it was. But I'm really stoked. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, because now we know Ant-Man and the Wasp in some form is going to be a part of the MCU going forward. Thank God. Because it really should have been there from the beginning, folks. And that's it. That is your spoilers. Listen, I have a Q&A coming up real soon. If you would like to participate, go on my Twitter, on the Facebook, on the comment section below. Right, hashtag ChubbyManQA, or just whatever. Write your damn questions. You could be anything. Just don't write anything offensive, and I will consider it, and I'll put it in the Q&A whenever I get to it. And expect more videos very soon, because I'm going to have some time off soon. Alright, folks, take care, and enjoy. Go see the movie. It was fucking sweet. Bye. Ant-Man! Woo!